The 2017 Steelers are widely considered to be one of the best teams in recent history by many. They had the third best offense, the fifth best defense, and finished first in total sacks with 56. The roster also had 8 total Pro Bowlers, the most in the NFL, and 4 first-team All-Pros. To top it off, they also secured the first-round bye, meaning less playoff games they had to play in order to get to the big game. So what happened? How did one of the most well-rounded teams in the 2017 regular season fail to bring Ben Roethlisberger to his 4th Super Bowl?
Blocked into the end zone. Free ball. And picked up for the touchdown by Pittsburgh.
The receiver set. Movement prior to the snap. Penalty markers. Roethlisberger going deep for Bryant. He dives and makes a spectacular catch. Towns to lead the way.
Fullback and defensive lineman.
And off to Collins.
Oh, Collins fumbles the football.
The Steelers were there. 2. Oh, and it's caught. No way, Brown inside the 20. And he's in for the touchdown. Off the ricochet.
Detroit trying to pin him deep. Roethlisberger gives him a lot of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races. Inside the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown.
From the 10, Roethlisberger throwing end zone. Antonio Brown, spectacular catch.
Bloodlines, the Watt family for the JJ. 3rd and 15. Hundley under pressure, and they're going to get him at the 38-yard line now from the midfield stripe. Then a little shovel to Bell. A high hurdle of Carr.
As Williams went out. 37, the blitz is coming. Heineke can't get away from Hilton, who's had a huge sack game. Yeah, you got all 3. That is Landry, Jones, and Pittsburgh respond. This is Juju Smith-Schuster from inside his own 5. Breaking a tackle. Here he goes, the rookie into open terrain, breaking tackles. And the 21-year-old is into the end zone for the touchdown.
Before taking a deep dive straight into the 2017 Steelers season, I think it's important to talk about the season that came before it, the 2017 Steelers draft, their training camps, and the important details and drama that would consume the Steelers for the next 2 years. The 2016 Steelers would finish with an AFC North division title, an 11-6 record, and be rewarded with an AFC Championship game loss to the eventual Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots. That season, the Steelers would finish 7th in the NFL in total points scored, as well as 10th in total points allowed. They had the 8th best rushing defense in the league, only allowing 93.2 yards per game, but finished middle of the road in passing defense at 16th. That being said, they finished 9th in the NFL with a total of 38 sacks, as well as 23 total turnovers, putting them at 14th overall for takeaways. Their defense was above average, but not really close to the top defenses in the league that year. The Steelers' offense had the 5th most passing yards at 4,202 and 14th most rushing yards at 1,652. They finished 6th in third down conversion rates at 42.7% and red zone scoring percentage at 58.8%, 12th in the league. Overall, they had one of the better offenses in the NFL that season. While things weren't perfect, there was a lot of hype coming into the offseason with some specific players, as well as a lot of talk about what to fix before the 2017 season started. First and foremost, the Steelers coming into the offseason had several key players they needed to re-sign. Star running back Le'Veon Bell was a huge priority, as well as veteran linebacker Lawrence Timmons, who was a key part of their defense that year. While Antonio Brown already had a contract, there was also an emphasis on ensuring a long-term deal for the elite wide receiver. While there were other players that needed re-signing like James Harrison, it's important to note 2 notable offensive players in the new contracts. Le'Veon Bell would be placed on a franchise tag that was just over $12 million. This created a lot of tension with him and the rest of the team, as well as the fans and media. On the flip side, Antonio Brown would receive a 4-year, $68 million deal with $19 million in guaranteed money. His new contract would make him the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL at the time, and it was clear that the Steelers would retain him as a franchise player for the rest of his career. Surely, nothing bad would happen.
That Antonio Brown is no longer a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That Antonio Brown was given away, as far as I'm concerned, for a bag of chips and a Coke. mean, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me.
While all of their contract negotiations didn't work out, the 2017 NFL Draft still excited some fans as they hoped the Steelers would grab players that would improve their secondary and linebacker depth. The Steelers had a total of 8 picks coming into this draft, and honestly, they hit on a decent amount of these picks. In the first round at pick 30, they'd take TJ Watt out of Wisconsin, who we know now is one of the best linebackers in the game right now. They would also draft players like Juju Smith-Schuster in the second round, who immediately made a solid impact on the offensive side of the ball. While they did reach on a few players here, notably drafting Colin Holba, a long snapper out of Louisville who was waived from the team that September, most of their picks were a solid success. Cameron Sutton and James Conner weren't bad draft pickups either, with Sutton playing for the Steelers for 6 years before heading off to Detroit. He's back now, so it's okay. And James Conner being a fine addition to the running back room for his whole contract before heading off to Arizona. Interestingly enough, there were no coaching staff changes despite all the speculation about special teams coordinator Danny Smith being canned and replaced. Overall, while there was some drama brewing, to most fans it seemed like something that every team goes through every once in a while, especially when it comes to players with active personalities wanting new contracts. While fans were whelmed by the lack of coaching changes or disregard of some needed personal depth, there was a palpable excitement bubbling with everyone. They had just gone to the AFC Championship, and yeah, they lost, but they lost to the Super Bowl champions, a team who had made one of the largest comebacks in NFL history. So while it was bitter, there was at least a level of comfort that came with losing to the best of the best. At least, that's how I like to look at it. Now that we've successfully recapped the events prior to the 2017 season, it's time to talk about the meat and potatoes herself. The 2017 Steelers season was full of high expectations, notable performances, and significant drama. The team finished with an impressive 13-3 record, securing an AFC North Division title and proving to the rest of the league that they could be strong contenders in the playoffs. The season kicked off with a narrow 21-18 victory over the Cleveland Browns, where Ben Roethlisberger threw for 263 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, rookie linebacker TJ Watt made an immediate impact with 2 sacks and an interception. This win set the tone for the season: grit and power. The following week, the team continued their strong start with a dominant 26-9 victory over the Minnesota Vikings, with the defense stifling the Vikings' offense and Roethlisberger connecting with Martavis Bryant for a touchdown. However, the Steelers would face an unexpected setback in Week 3, losing 23-17 in overtime to the Chicago Bears. Despite solid performances from Roethlisberger and Bell, the team struggled to contain Chicago's rushing attack. While this loss brought some early concerns, the Steelers quickly bounced back with a decisive 26-9 victory over division rival, the Baltimore Ravens in Week 4, highlighted by Le'Veon Bell's 144 total rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, while there were some political instances during the Week 3 outing against Chicago, the real concern came from the ongoing failed contract negotiations with Le'Veon Bell. Even though he had already returned before Week 1, his future with the Steelers and the uncertainty around it was not a great distraction. During Week 4 as well, after Roethlisberger missed Antonio Brown on a pass downfield, Brown would throw a Gatorade cooler on the sideline out of frustration. This was a clear sign to all that even though the season was early and there were some successes, there was still a lot of drama brewing within the team. Despite this, Pittsburgh carried on. One of the season's defining moments came in Week 5 when the Steelers handed the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss of the season with a 19-13 victory. Bell's 179 rushing yards and a stout defensive effort led by Cameron Hayward were crucial in this win. The victory against a top contender like the Chiefs reinforced the Steelers' status as one of the league's elite teams during the midst of the early season. This momentum continued with wins over the Bengals and Lions, with wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster having a breakout game against Detroit with 193 total receiving yards and a 97-yard touchdown reception. Skipping forward to mid-season, the Steelers would play the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 12 on Monday Night Football in a close 23-20 win off the leg of the ever-reliable Chris Boswell. While the win looked good for the Steelers, the major spinal injury to linebacker Ryan Shazier was not. The injury occurred in the fourth quarter when Shazier attempted to make a tackle on Bengals wide receiver Josh Malone. Leading with his helmet, Shazier's head collided with Malone's thigh, causing immediate and visible distress. Shazier would fall to the ground, grabbing his lower back, unable to move his legs. Shazier would be diagnosed with a spinal contusion, a severe bruising of his spinal cord, which caused temporary paralysis in his lower body. He would undergo spinal stabilization surgery in December of that year, which seemed to stabilize his spine to prevent further injury. Shazier would spend the next year relearning how to walk while gaining his strength and mobility again. By May of 2018, Shazier would walk across the stage at the NFL Draft to announce the Steelers' first-round pick. Overall, Shazier's injury had a massive impact on the Steelers. On the field, his absence was felt immediately as the team lost a key defensive leader and playmaker. The emotional toll on his teammates and the organization was significant, as Shazier was not only a standout player, but also a beloved figure in the locker room.
Here's the handoff to Hill, and the early contact by Shazier. Backing off the blitz, giving McCarron time, goes underneath, and he is smashed.
Play action. Prescott stays alive. Balls out. Recovered by Pittsburgh. Here is Elliott, dragged down. What a play by Shazier.
Ryan Shazier, he just sees an opening, the ball handed off to Elliott, he hits it. He's got great speed and quickness. He makes a huge play.
Shazier Crowell, and from behind pulled down by Ryan Shazier. Into the Steeler nickel, 2nd down and 6. Crowell again, read well, beautiful play by Shazier.
Large-scale controversy would envelop the team come Week 15 in a highly anticipated game between the Steelers and New England Patriots. The game was intense and closely contested, living up to the expectations of fans and analysts alike. The game culminated in a controversial moment in the final seconds. With less than 30 seconds left, the Steelers were trailing 27-24 and had the ball on the Patriots' 10-yard line. Ben Roethlisberger threw a pass to tight end Jesse James, who appeared to make a game-winning touchdown catch. James caught the ball, turned towards the end zone, and extended it over the goal line. Initially ruled a touchdown on the field, the play was subjected to an automatic review. During the review, officials determined that James did not survive the ground, as the ball moved slightly when hitting the ground. According to NFL rules at the time, a receiver had to maintain control of the ball throughout the process of the catch, including when they hit the ground. As a result, the touchdown was overturned, ruling it an incomplete pass. This controversial decision left the Steelers with little time to attempt another play, leading to an interception on a rush throw by Roethlisberger, sealing the Patriots' victory. The immediate ramification of the overturned touchdown was significant for Pittsburgh. The loss to the Patriots meant that New England secured a top seed in the AFC, giving them home field advantage throughout the playoffs. This seeding played a crucial role in the postseason dynamics, potentially affecting the Steelers' chances at advancing to a Super Bowl. Steelers fans were pretty aggravated by this, believing that the reversal robbed their team of a deserved victory. The frustration was palpable, not just among fans, but also within the Steelers organization, with players and coaches expressing their disbelief and disappointment in post-game interviews. In the broader context, the controversy reignited discussions about the NFL's catch rule. The widespread criticism and calls for change ultimately contributed to the league revisiting and revising the rule in the offseason. In March 2018, the NFL Competition Committee approved a new catch rule aimed at simplifying the criteria. The new rule defined a catch as having control of the ball, 2 feet or another body part down, and making a football move such as a third step or reaching/extending for the goal line. This wasn't the only drama, however. James Harrison, who had signed a 2-year extension with the Steelers the previous offseason, had been inactive for most of the Steelers' season due to rookie linebacker TJ Watt surprising everybody and taking his role. This led to rising tensions, and Harrison would officially request his release from the team. The Steelers would grant this request, and Harrison would quickly sign with the Patriots, adding more fuel to the already disastrous fire. This move was seen by some as a betrayal, and ultimately tarnished his legacy in Pittsburgh despite his contributions over the year. All this really did, though, was further prove the ongoing internal problems with the Steelers, their locker room management, and front office. The Steelers rebounded from their controversial loss to the Patriots with a commanding victory over the Houston Texans in Week 16, where Ben Roethlisberger threw for 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell would add 69 rushing yards and a touchdown, and Juju Smith-Schuster and Martavius Bryant would also lock in touchdown passes. The Steelers' defense would dominate, recording 7 sacks and limiting the Texans to just 6 points. In their final regular season game in Week 17, the Steelers faced the Cleveland Browns. With several starters resting, including Roethlisberger and Bell, backup quarterback Landry Jones led the team, throwing for 239 yards and a touchdown. Running back Stephen Ridley, filling in for Bell, rushed for 80 yards and a touchdown as well. Despite a spirited effort from the Browns, the Steelers secured a 28-24 victory, giving the Browns an 0-16 season. This loss marked a significant historical moment as the Browns became only the second team in NFL history to finish a season with a winless record, joining the 2008 Detroit Lions. The Steelers finished the regular season with a 13-3 record and strong momentum heading into the playoffs. Offensively, the Steelers were driven by standout performances from multiple key players. Ben Roethlisberger threw for 4,200 yards and 28 touchdowns, ranking 5th in the league for passing yards. Bell would rush for a total of 1,291 yards and 9 touchdowns, ranking 3rd in the NFL for rushing yards, and added another 655 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns onto his already impressive season. Antonio Brown led the league with 1,533 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns, despite missing the last 2 games due to injury. Rookie wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster also made a significant impact, adding just barely over 900 yards and 7 touchdowns, contributing to the Steelers' dynamic passing attack. The Steelers' offense amassed 5,800 total yards, ranking 3rd in the league. Their passing game was particularly strong, like I stated before, placing them 3rd overall. The rushing attack, led by Bell, ranked them 20th in the league. The team scored 406 points over the season, averaging 25.4 points per game, which ranked them 8th in the NFL. Defensively, the Steelers were anchored by impressive performances from players like TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward. TJ Watt recorded 7 sacks with an interception in his rookie season, while Cameron Hayward led the team with 12 sacks. Despite the significant loss of Ryan Shazier due to injury, the defense remained resilient and incredibly effective. The Steelers' defense allowed 4,580 total yards, ranking 5th in the NFL. They were particularly strong against the pass, only allowing 3,052 passing yards, the 5th fewest in the league. The defense also allowed 1,528 rushing yards, ranking 10th overall. In terms of scoring, they allowed 308 points, an average of 19.3 points per game, placing them 7th in the league. Special teams also played a crucial role in the Steelers' success. Chris Boswell was reliable throughout the season, making 35 of 38 field goals and all 37 extra points. Jordan Berry averaged 43.2 yards per punt, with a net average of 39.8 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster contributed on special teams as well, with a notable 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against the Cleveland Browns. All in all, the 2017 Pittsburgh Steelers were a well-rounded team with a powerful offense and strong defense, ranking high in both offensive and defensive metrics. The combination of a high-octane offense, driven by Roethlisberger, Bell, and Brown, and a stingy defense anchored by Watt and Hayward made them a formidable opponent capable of competing with the best teams in the league. With all that being said though, what happened in the playoffs? Their first and only playoff game was an AFC divisional round game against the Jacksonville Jaguars on January 18th, 2018 at Heinz Field. The game turned out to be a high-scoring, dramatic affair, with the Jaguars surprising many by jumping to an early lead, scoring 21 points in the first quarter. The Steelers, known for their explosive offense, fought back throughout the game, with Ben Roethlisberger throwing for 469 yards and 5 touchdowns. However, the Jaguars' offense, led by QB Blake Bortles and running back Leonard Fournette, proved formidable. Fournette rushed for 109 yards and 3 touchdowns, playing a crucial role in maintaining the Jags' lead. Despite Roethlisberger's impressive performance, which included touchdown passes to Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers' defense struggled to contain the Jaguars. Critical mistakes and turnovers also hampered Pittsburgh's efforts. The Steelers' attempt at a comeback fell short and they lost the game 45-42. The game featured several notable moments and controversies. The Steelers made some controversial play calling decisions, particularly on 4th down. Twice they failed to convert critical 4th down attempts, including a 4th and 1 and a 4th and 5, which significantly impacted their ability to keep pace with the Jags. Le'Veon Bell had a strong game with 67 rushing yards, 88 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, but his contributions were overshadowed by the team's overall struggles. The Steelers' defense, which had been strong throughout the regular season, failed to contain Jacksonville's offense with missed tackles and poor coverage, allowing the Jags to score repeatedly. The loss was a significant disappointment for Steelers fans, who had high hopes for a deep playoff run and potential Super Bowl appearance. The game led to widespread criticism of the coaching staff, notably head coach Mike Tomlin and offensive coordinator Todd Haley, for their play calling decisions and inability to adjust to the Jaguars' game plan. In the aftermath of the loss, there were calls for changes within the team. Todd Haley did not have his contract renewed and was replaced by quarterbacks coach Randy Fitchner as the new offensive coordinator. The loss also intensified discussions about future key players like Le'Veon Bell, who was entering another contract negotiation period. So what exactly prevented one of the most well-rounded teams from going to the Super Bowl? As lame as it sounds, it really boils down to issues that plague every team every year who doesn't make it. Injuries, bad play calling, poor decision making, and failing to adjust fast enough. The Pittsburgh Steelers' failure to reach the Super Bowl in the 2017 season was a result of a combination of defensive lapses, strategic errors, turnovers, and internal distractions. These challenges set the stage for a tumultuous 2018 season marked by even more drama and internal strife. The unresolved contract situation with Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown's growing discontent, and the continued scrutiny of the coaching staff would contribute to another year of underperformance and controversy for the Steelers. The story of the 2017 Steelers serves as a reminder of how fine the line can be between success and failure in the NFL, and how internal cohesion is as crucial as on-field talent, not only in achieving greatness, but achieving historical dominance. I've been your host, Brady Mayer from Late Flag Sports, and I hope you all enjoyed this past video. I know it took me a little longer to put it together than I wanted, but I really wanted to make sure that all the information within the video was correct. I'm sure I got something wrong, so please do not be afraid to destroy me in the comments below. I can take it, trust me. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy the upcoming 4th of July weekend, and as always, God save the Green Bay Packers.